a good evening. All depends on when you view my video. Welcome to comm410 Principles of Communication Research. I'm Dr. Wu. So we're gonna begin our semester by, let's see, talk about myself first and then about the course, obviously. So this is the 3 degrees that I've got from 3 different universities, obviously. The first is I got my Bachelor of English for Science and Technology from Tsinghua University, which is the most prestigious university in China. And then I got my master's degree in advertising from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, which is 150 miles south of Chicago. Very cold place in winter and lots of snow. And University of Illinois, many people know that it's a UIUC. It's known for its uh, accounting program, leading a planning program nationwide, and also the one of the most prestigious campuses on engineering. And so if you're an engineering student, you definitely know UIUC. Obviously, if you're an advertising student, obviously maybe you know, maybe you don't know. The advertising education actually originated from the UIUC back in 1970s. It's not that long. Advertising education started many years ago in the 1920s, 30s. So but the formal college education originated at Illinois. So, and then I moved to Texas. It was just too cold. So Texas now actually has surpassed UIUC as one of the leading advertising programs, and UT Austin. It's a wonderful place. I got my PhD in advertising from that wonderful university. And as a matter of fact, many Californians have been migrating to Austin since I moved here a long time ago from upstate New York, Syracuse University, like 14 years ago. So Syracuse, UT Austin, it's wonderful, and lots of Californians and some of my former students actually when they heard about Austin, they just moved there. And my first son actually recently moved to Austin, and from New York City, PwC, one of the big four accounting firms, and he loved it. Obviously, he's a graduate of UT Austin Longhorn and from its Master of Professional Accounting program. So Austin, it's a wonderful place. Now, some of the professional work experience. I worked at both Chinese major big companies and the U.S. companies as well. So you have some of the experiences, as you can see, in the tobacco industry and also in the chemical industries, and also the First Data, by the way, actually, it's one of the Fortune 500 companies. It's really a big one, and the company I used to work for actually was bought by First Data. Some of my teaching experiences, I taught at different universities during my past almost 18 years of teaching career. Um, Emerson College, San Jose State, Syracuse, Cal State, and also I taught briefly at Xi'an Liverpool University, Suzhou, which is a joint venture between one of the most prestigious universities in China, Xi'an University, and University of Liverpool from UK. It's located in one of the most prosperous regions in China, near Shanghai, and actually it's located within the Singapore Industrial Park, which is really nice. Definitely, it's worth living or staying there. And also, obviously, the University of Hong Kong, and some of you probably know that Hong Kong is really now at the forefront of the news. But University of Hong Kong is also very good university, and then I taught briefly at their master program. They used to have a joint degree master program with us, but unfortunately it's gone, and for a variety of reasons, and I still miss that teaching experience in Hong Kong. Some of my accomplishments, and as you can see, those are the kind of make you feel good kind of accomplishments, and it's really something that I'm proud of, and obviously that's kind of interesting way of looking at it. And many professors, assistant professors, are still trying to publish and then make their name known in the field. More accomplishments and stuff that I'm just willing to share with you if you are interested in research. And as a matter of fact, one of the recent project I spent a considerable amount of time translating is called Persuasive Advertising, Evidence-Based Principles by J. Scott Armstrong, the most cited marketing scholars in the world from the Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania. And this is the must read in my opinion if you're advertising major or advertising student, and because it's all based upon real empirical evidence about how to do advertising. So I mean, obviously you can see it's published by one of the most prominent publisher in China, the Commercial Press of China. So on the right hand side, the little picture is actually Scott Armstrong. It's if I usually talk about when I teach advertising classes, I talk about this book a little more in depth. But since this is a communication principle class, I'm going to just leave it at that. Okay, more stuff about me, Google Scholar stuff. I mean, so if you can academic fame or vanities, sometimes you think it's a fame or it's a vanity, nothing but vanity. Yeah, so but it makes sense when you're a young junior faculty pursuing your career, try to publish as much as possible, and then make a name for yourself. So that makes sense. Personal, I love playing Chinese chess, although I don't play anymore with any people, uh, you know, because we don't have lots of people nearby to play with, and because people pretty much, want to stay away from each other in these days. And sometimes I do play online, and I love to play with computer, not with real people, because you know what? You'll meet lots of nasty people. They play online. They urge you to move faster, and if you are slow, they're gonna send you like F words, which makes me very uncomfortable. So I just quit playing with people, and I play with computer. And guess what? A computer playing with computer is also lots of fun, and I used to play at an advanced level, and then I lose. Sometimes I win, and then one time I kind of playing with the master level. Guess what? The first time I won, but that's the only time I won. The second, the third, the fourth, fifth time, I always lost. So the computer learn about you, how you think. I mean, that's why one day we'll be all dominated by computers, and then we'll become second-class citizens. Okay, anyway. So I also love reading books on religion and philosopher, and nowadays actually I read a lot of books by philosophers, Greek philosophers, Chinese philosophers, and also just religious books. But I think after so many years of reading, I finally think that Christianity probably is the most valid and more appealing to me. So I'm a devout believer in Jesus Christ. So that's who I am, and I have tons of spiritual experiences that validate my belief and validate my faith. So I'm married with three wonderful kids. So they really make my life more meaningful, more fulfilled, and So just raising children is a really joy, and obviously, sometimes not joy, just sometimes some kind of like unpleasant things happen. I love California because California has sunshine, beaches, and which you don't have to spend money coming from another state to stay. And even though California, everybody complains about expensive, 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 but the reality is that you get what you paid for, and then you just expensive and just try to save on other aspects, and then just stay here. And obviously, I told you earlier about some of my former students, is that, native Californians, they say, well, it's too expensive. They moved to Austin, which is, yeah, I think it's not a bad choice because at least Austin is not cold. It's milder, except in summertime, it's too hot and humid. All right. So about our classes, actually, some of the learning outcomes, which I'm going to let you just read them through. But basically, is that I want you to become familiar with the research terminology and lots of terms which have its common name, sense name, but you need to dig deep into that. For example, focus group, right? Focus group. Everybody knows the focus group, but focus groups together had lots of more meaning beyond in the field of the research. And then mainly I want you to really understand the research methods commonly used in the communication disciplines. Basically find out strengths, weaknesses, and each different method when to use for what purposes. And also basically develop a basic qualitative quantitative research study, meaning that you learn how to develop uh, research by yourself typically a group project, which we will be having. As a matter of fact, it accounts for 50% of your grade. I have a separate video about 25 minutes talking about that group project. And then last, obviously, about this demonstrate ability to effectively use research support claims and guide decision making in communication disciplines. Now we talk about the decision making, which is a key word in our field. Decision making. It's very, very important. Communication disciplines, actually, it's very big one. We have advertising, public relations. I mean, I don't know, entertainment studies. Journalism definitely belongs to communication. I'm not sure about the entertainment studies, or because entertainment studies and it's more like you could say it is communication based because it's more what we teach here. It's really about the marketing of entertainment industry. So marketing, entertainment marketing stuff. So just to let you know that you may find it a little bit strange to see that I would use a book called marketing research. Now, because market research, in my own understanding and based upon my years of experiencing here, and also experience by some of previous professors taught here, and then I think the marketing would be a much more rational, inclusive, comprehensive umbrella to embrace all disciplines within our department, like entertainment studies, advertising, PR. Now, if you're journalism, probably you might find a little bit different because journalism, obviously, if you're a journalism student, obviously you're definitely going to benefit from this class because, honestly, it's although you're not required to take this 410 class. Now, all other majors must take this comm410 class. By the way, let you know that I'm one of the strong advocates of having our students taking this as a required class. Because in my opinion, if you don't know about research, then you don't know about strategy, okay? Which is really something that research is all about. the due diligence before you know what to do. Okay. Now again, a few minutes we talk about the textbook market research by McDaniel and Gates. I think this is one of the best textbooks on research and market research. And I have tons of communication research book, which is more appropriately for, let's say, grad students, or interested in pursuing an advanced study like PhD program. But market research would be much more appropriately used by for our students. It's based upon real world problems solving. It's really based upon lots of industry experiences, which is more relevant for you guys, I think. So I've been using this book for a number of years, and then this is 11th edition. And for the textbook, sometimes if you use like a loose leaf, whatever version, or even online version, it doesn't matter. It has the same content. Okay. Now, is it okay to use 10th or 8th or 9th edition? The answer is probably not, because the content, although like 80% of content is similar, the same, but there's other stuff probably not the same. Actually, I'm keeping updating my own like understanding of some of the content, because some content is old and just updated. Now, let's look at grading components, which is probably more important for you to really understand. So we have like a very simple structure. Group project, I mentioned earlier, 50%, right? 50%, okay? So, well, we'll talk about a group project a little bit in depth here, even though I have a separate video dealing with group project. Group project, basically, it's like, you'll probably be working with 9 or 8 other people and led by group leader, and then really do research on a pre-assigned brand. For example, I remember some of the brands like Ross stores, Grubhub, I think I know the Pinterest, Snapchat, Target, all those interesting brands might be relevant to your generation. And so you work on a brand and conduct research. And you have two components. The situation analysis, which basically some people say it's a SWOT analysis, but I think it's much more than SWOT analysis, because it deals with 5 C's, company, customer, competition, collaborators, climate change, climate. So within climate, we have the past political, economic, social, technological trends impacting the product, impacting the branding, positioning, everything. So it's a group project. And then situation analysis, you need to dig through the internet, and our universal library databases, ABI Inform, Gale, some of the business-oriented databases would be useful for you to go in there and seek and find information that's relevant to each particular component of your paper. Actually, by the way, the sample student works posted on Canvas site, so you'll see that how it's structured. It's pretty straightforward if you have to read the sample paper. So the group project, we have 15% graded. It's called peer evaluation. 15% is a lot, and I want to make sure that you work well with each other, and then nobody gets deducted from this 15%. And also we have about 20% for the online survey research project, and 15% for the situation analysis. Oh, more on the survey research project. It's online survey research project. You'll probably be using the software called Quadrants. I would say definitely not probably. You definitely would use software called Quadrants, which is available on your portal. If you log into your portal, go to apps, looking for the word, start with Q, Quadrants. Quadrants is really the high-end survey making and implementation software. So And then you design a survey questionnaire based upon research you've done from the situation analysis sub-project. And then you gather data using social networks, using social networks using the Quadrix. And then Quadrix has the ability to help you analyze information and then output to the files, like graphs, to be integrated into your written paper. Okay, so this is about a group project. Now about exams, so we have 30% of exam, 15% each exam. So each exam would be consisting of 50 multiple choice or true false questions. So 50 questions, 15 minutes. Now remember, those exams are real-time exam, meaning you cannot take it any other time. Once it's specified, for example, December 14th, I believe that's the exam date. So the 1 to 150. So if you want to take exam some other time, you need to tell me why. What's the reason for taking that? Because it's, and then obviously, normally I would not allow you to take at a different time for the purpose of security, and because I don't want to leak the exam out to other students, or maybe so that's really important to make sure that the exam integrity securities are maintained. And also we have chapter quizzes. We have each chapter has 10 questions, and then you will take those questions, and then but make sure that you don't take those quizzes just without reading or digesting information, because it might be a challenge, and then I don't want you to get to the low grade, even though you have unlimited amount of time to take the chapter quizzes before the due date. But the attempt is one attempt, meaning that you can only take it once. You cannot, if you got it wrong, you cannot go back and take it a second time. But even though you can take that quiz, as long as you want it, like 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours if you want. Okay. So grading components. Now, about the chapter quizzes, it's no makeups, no exceptions. Okay, so there are no excuses. So, oh, I forgot about it. If you forgot about it, you give up those credit for the chapter quizzes. Okay, here are actually the dates I remember correct. 2 dates. The exam number 1 is October 12th from 8 to 8:50. So that is possibly some problem if I need to know from because some people may have the conflict of time. Maybe I need to change that. But for the exam number 2, final one, that's a common time. And for exam number 1, I would be interested. I would be willing to change the time, maybe shift it to a little bit late, or just so that we can accommodate some of your schedules, or other course schedules, or maybe working schedule. Group project, I already mentioned that. Okay, so this is make sure that you watch the video, separate video on this group project. Rules and regulations: no late assignment, no exceptions. Only documented medical emergencies are eligible for makeups. All work should be independent. Okay, no collaboration is permitted. For the rules, please see the syllabus. Okay, that's all for today, and see you next time.